coming. My name is Pierre Bohanna. I was the head prop maker on the full series of Potter films, and fantastic piece as well. So Potter ran for about 10 years, weirdly for myself, exactly 10 years. And in that time, I was given the opportunity to assemble a team of guys, artisans, engineers, model makers, to facilitate all the making of the props that were required. And we were a little part of the cake of the whole process of providing all the sets and everything in front of the camera that was made. It was an amazing experience. I hear it over and over. It was an amazing period in my career, and certainly the guys I've worked with. Great opportunity, great chance, great. They don't do it already now. So we've got a few samples of some of the pieces that we've made, and prop making can be different things. It can be something that's very examined, very close to camera. There's a lot of debate about how the piece is made. So there's lots of people who will be involved in the design of an important camera. So let's take Harry's one, for example. That had to be approved by the director and the producers, David Heyman, David Barron, and Bossy Joe, and the actor himself. So really pleasing all of that group of people, because there's lots of making and changing. It's not something that just happens very linear. There's lots of editing, lots of changing until you come to the result. And it's a long process. It's a long development. Other times when you're doing sort of mid-ground dressing pieces, then sometimes you're given a free hand, and often what will happen, say, let's take example Auburn Birch. We made lots of things where we sort of try this, try that, and it was definitely Williams and decorators gave us elements and sort of riffing off ideas. And what you tend to do is you tend to make more stuff that's needed, and you're able to select and use pieces that really assemble and go together. Another side of it is to do the sort of techniques. At the end of the day, what we're trying to do is show something that looks good on the camera. It doesn't necessarily need to be the materials you need to. Looking at plug it back here, the original we've made was out of wood and plate aluminium, but it's way too heavy. So this is the fiberglass casting. It's hollow and foam inside. It's nice and light. So, but it looks exactly the same as the previous one. Brooms were a massive part of what we were doing. They were a real technical challenge. The other thing was that they had to actually be mounted onto a fetch ring and sustain people being thrown around the room. So we ended up using titanium armatures and sort of military grade aluminiums and sort of mad stuff that were completely over the top to really make sure that they stayed and looked like they had to. So lots of things like that. Anyway, so if anyone wants to ask any questions, then please do.
What was actually used to make it?
So I'm going to have to ask you just to catch the second half of that.
Did you do any workarounds? Like you said, for the movies, they have to be, flexible or durable or whatever. So is there anything that looks one way, like you'd be really surprised at what you had to use to make it, or a workaround that you did?
Yeah, more generally, I've mentioned before, ones are a good example where basically we had to make ones that looked exactly like the real one. So we were making the original out of wood, but then they were actually cast in rubber and upwards so that they could be safe. So there's a lot of things were replicated. Also, you tend to not want one thing. One prop is not a good number because often you have two units. Sometimes if you've got the risk of things breaking. So you end up doing numbers of things, which means that if something is difficult to make, you try and replicate it by moulding and casting. And I had an unbelievable and sort of probably one of the best in the industry moulding department that were able to use very, very modern processes and principles to replicate things that often look very old and aged. But yeah, that's a big part of what we do is actually multiples and keeping it consistent.
Hi, I have a question for you concerning the upcoming movie Beasts. Did you find, since there's not as much source material for that film as there are for the Harry Potter films, does that make the prop design process easier or more challenging?
It's kind of not my problem. It's really what I receive what's required from us by the art department and the script. It's basically the script, but what's required. It's very specific. So you're right. But then the development of the story the script has been developed from the story anyway. So that is a bigger part of it anyway. It's been made into a film, so that will provide all the bigger work.
Hi, I'm wondering, how does it feel to create something for a movie and then knowing now that it's such a beloved part of a child's life? I mean, I'm here in Orlando and there's children who just own everything you've made. What's that feel like?
It's indescribable because we're just a group of guys that sat in the leaky old shed for a few years making this stuff and sat at the door. And that's just as much as we really looked onto it. I mean, often, this isn't a general, if you, as a professional working in the film industry, this stuff is quite transient. It tells a story, that's it. So, but it was made, the whole film was made with great passion. Everybody found the film, a lot of heart and soul. And so to see the kickback of that from this is the first time I've been to Orlando and seen the show, and just the people going, one of the reasons, I'd certainly say for myself and I'd say for most of my colleagues, one of the reasons we do this job is that we love making things. And the process of making things, one of the most enjoyable aspects of it, is that however bad your day is, however difficult it's been making things, you're eventually judged by the end result. And it can, if you're happy with it, then that's great. But then you see people's reactions from it. And to see the reaction to this level where it's been taken on, let's say some of the stuff we made 14, 15 years ago now, and to see it still have that resonance is indescribable. It's the biggest compliment in the world.
Oh, hi. How you doing? Hey. What would you say is your favorite prop to make out of all the ones that you've done? Does somebody just ask that? Mike?
Security forgiveness matter?
Yeah.
It's one of the most difficult questions to answer because it's 10 years' work, and it's 10 years' work of 30, 40 people. And what I love is the process. Personally, I love the actions, but there's definitely things I'm probably prouder than not. But the trouble is, whenever I answer it, I walk off stage and think, oh no, that wasn't it. It was so. It's difficult. I mean, just grabbing at things. I mean, one of the ones I remember was I loved doing it. Often less and less I get involved by the day-to-day making as the films got bigger and denser. But myself and a colleague called Spike Knight, we did the Goblet of Fire, and that was lovely because it was a really. We essentially went out and got a trunk of them, and two of us sat there and we just carved the thing out in just one massive go for about 4 weeks. And it's just so joyful, just the wood is such a beautiful material. Yeah, so I'm going to stick with that for the next 10, 50 seconds and I'll remember something else.
Hi, did you ever work closely with the theme park designers, and are there any of your props that can be found here in your park?
we did obviously with Eric Baker as a start off, but with obviously and a lot of the guys that came over at least, and while we were still actually working on Deathly Hallows, but Adam Gilmore and all those guys, yeah, very much involved in trying to facilitate and help them with the aim. But just saying, it's obviously the first time I've been to Orlando, so it's the first time I've really had a chance to go around Diamond Alley and Hogsmeade and the park. And we worked really hard, we put so much effort, as I was saying before, into the quality and the love, and so you're kind of handing it over to Eric's guys and the prop makers you've got here to do that. And I'm so happy to see that it's almost like we split the birth. They've applied just the same amount of energy and love and enjoyment and professional pride into everything we've done. It's phenomenal. The whole park is phenomenal piece of work. And at the end of the day, we must respect the world, absolutely, and that's with utter respect. It's a very impressive.
And you mentioned the world. I mean, it's a fully realized world that is entirely fleshed out. And along with that comes challenges such as, I'm looking at the Death Eater masks, you have a series of items, not just one item that you're creating, not just a one-off. What sort of series of props was providing the most challenge for you? Was it, for instance, the brooms, the Death Eater masks, the wands? What were the sort of series of items that was the most challenging?
In a linear sense, the brooms were interesting because they developed so much from the beginning right to the end of the film, and that was influenced by many things. The physical fact that when we made the first Nimbus 2000, which for the band when he was 10, 11 years old, 7 years later we were making a broom for him, and obviously the bigger size and the bigger guy. But also that scripturally that would change. Originally it was just kids on the first two, then you get adults. And so everything, the brooms were bigger and bigger, but then technically they got more and more demanding, and they didn't. As soon as they got confident with the way that they used to rig them as far as the visual effects and the physical effects, then the demand to make sure that they aesthetically stayed sound was there. So they were, from film to film, probably one of the most demanding things, even though at the end of the day it's a stick to put dust in the corner of the room.
I've literally forgotten my question. No, I was going to say, very loud. To all the aspiring prop makers and cosplayers out there, how does one get a job in Hollywood prop making?
You've just got to work hard. I think you've just got to come with passion, and it's like anything. I think there is a little element of luck, but I think I always say to guys coming to me, and then, to be honest, also there's quite a formal way of doing it. There's good college courses. Certainly, I can only really go to the UK, and I'm sure it's the same here. There's good college courses, and so they get a good grounding and skill. But really, the most important thing when you're starting out is your attitude. That's what you're saying. That's the thing that will give you a career. Because filmmaking, prop making, but also filmmaking is a team phenomenon. You have to. You can't do it all yourself. It's not so much about you. It's about you incorporating yourself into the system of what you've got to do. And you also get the best benefit, your best kick. There's nothing like coming to the end of a really hard project, and you're exhausted and you're tired. And again, you see work. You sit in the cinema 12 months later, and you see it, and you get it, and you're proud of it. It's great. The return is wonderful. But you just, I always say to guys, just be tenacious and just have a good attitude, and that will get you through. Just got to keep working at it, because the work is sporadic. At the end of the day, if you're working 9 months of the year, you're doing very well.
Now that you've been with Harry Potter for 8 films, it makes up a large portion do you see what you've made across those films influence your other work, like an Edge of Tomorrow, would say that would be Tarzan film, and what's in your mind?
Absolutely, you've hit a very interesting point. Professionally, in my mind, Potter was so important because it allowed me to set up and investigate systems that wouldn't generally be used in films. We had the time and the backing to be able to develop, and that development moved up over the films. So it set an attitude, certainly for myself, that that's how we approach everything, even up to now. So at the end of the day, people go to see films to see something they haven't seen before, to be impressed. You don't. So I always look at it, and we've always got to have a leading edge. We've always got to try and to provide in our way, for our little part, something that's convincing, but also novel and impressive. So yeah, it's an absolute cornerstone. It's certainly with my team and such attitude to how we go about it. You never stand still, but you always want to try new things. It's one of the most, for me, it's one of the most enjoyable parts of it. It's lovely seeing something, to learn about it. And listen, there's great parallels between America and the UK in their attitude to industry. There's a great strength there, and I think we have such a strong industrial base, but the development, we're not copying, we're leaders. We're always interested, we're always by our nature from 200 years ago, and we should remember that and respect that and use it for our students. And as far as what's on my want, I think it's Dragon Heart. Little combination of that and a bit of Phoenix there.
Hi, we just have a question about wands. Obviously, when you first started making them, the information on Potter hadn't come out, and all of the different woods that Joe had kind of designated as wand woods. So, have you changed the way you make wands through the films, or now working on Fantastic Beasts? And can you tell us what Newt's wand is?
Newt's wand is he's got a little line in there, and there's some other little elements that are not wood. Consideration of animals.
Can you share an anecdote about when you present a prop to a specific actor and what kind of reaction that you got that is particularly close to your heart, the one that you really like sharing?
Yeah, ones are interesting, but a lot of the actors, by their nature, they want to have influence and understanding of it. Probably one of the best, certainly one of the best was Ralph Fiennes, where he had a great influence to one of the other actors about how they went about using their wand. With his original bone wand, he wanted to use it in a very specific way, and the way it hooks around his back with little finger, and he rested basically his little finger on his forefinger, and he almost balances it, and it's so clever in the sense that the magic is coming through him, and it's a focal point of his magical power. So he was showing it, you can see the way he expressed it, and it's a great theatrical way of doing it, using it. And of course, when we make it, it's great to see it interpreted and used.
At the panel earlier today, you talked about Eddie's suitcase a little bit. Is there anything you can tell us about any other props from the film? And is there a difference between American props and British props?
I can't tell you more about that. All I'd say about, listen, what's great, what's piece is that you're going to be surprised. You're going to be unbelievably entertained. It's going to be familiar but so different as well. Joe's idea about it was so clever. The setting of the period, the placing of the people within that period, it just makes for a great dynamic and a great story. So, yeah, it's a brilliant. And you're going to have to remind me of the second question. Oh yes, I have known prop makers, and recently Eric again, Baker, who does all the props here, he's come over the UK and back and forth, and I don't see a difference. I know that the guys are very familiar here as they are there, and it's not about the country, it's about the attitude. I think that the guys here have got just the same attitude, just the same passion. It's all about opportunity. But we all get up in the morning, go to work as hard as we can, do the best work we can, go home. So, yeah, there's no difference.
So, how do you measure the amount of details you took from the Harry Potter books and put it into a prop, but also adding your own unique creative talent into this world, into the prop?
Again, I think it's obviously just a process of script writing, which is not my novel. There's a great refinement. It's a book and a film that can be very different. I think that Steve Close and the directors, David Heyman, have a real balancing act in trying to take something like, especially with Red Foster Stone, who's taking that book and not doing anything other than something that's completely taken on the page. But what makes a good book doesn't necessarily make a good film. I think later on they had to be filming with the way that they interpreted the books. But listen, I think the reactions are good for all the films, and it's just a good story. So it was a very difficult thing to pull off.
Hi, I have a question. Is there any specific prop that you noticed that an actor really wanted to keep? Is there like a wand that they really wanted, or Rupert said that he really wanted to keep the egg? Is there anything that you noticed that all the actors were kind of like, can I keep this?
Well, they're all human, aren't they?
It's so cool.
The standby prop guys, Barry Wilkinson's guys, had the remit from Rob Butler, the head of the UK film production, that they had to make sure he knew the value of it. So, it was a great game of making sure nothing disappeared or was given out. I can vouch for the fact that the guys never let anything disappear. They had to sign it all out in the morning and sign it back in. The security was massive. But that's not to say people weren't keen to have things like that.
Hi. In a world of cinema props, throughout cinema, what was the one prop that you wish you made that kind of got you into doing the work that you do?
That's a good question. I think it's funny. There was different. I suppose it was more in a filmic sense. One thing I loved as a kid, I loved Bond films. They were always great escapes, great imaginations. I loved the Muppets. As a kid, you just wanted to be there. Just wanted to be there making it with them, because it looked such fun and it was so clever. Very filmmaking, certainly the things that I thought that had influence as far as filmmaking was concerned was, I don't know if you guys know, there's a guy in the UK called David Attenborough in Wildlife, there's not issue like that. And his first series with the Level Earth. And filmically, it changed television in the UK forever because the quality of what he was doing was phenomenal. And a wildlife program where you're sitting there, I remember as a kid sitting there, my jaw open just completely sucked in. And that's actually good filmmaking. We know we've seen a good film. It's the first time we've turn around and go and see it. But also you've had this journey, this great journey. It's so being part of anything like that, with a certain certainly is very good.
So as you move about, piggybacking on an earlier question, as you move about the Harry Potter celebration, or you can see fandom out there, what is an item, a prop that you worked on that you're particularly surprised has become so embraced as such a part of fandom in a very physical and maybe collectible sense?
I think about the surprise. I mean, obviously, people love making one. I think that once again, in fact, that personal thing I was saying earlier on is that everybody has a different idea about what a one should be, which means that everyone has an idea of what their one should be. And so that's lovely. It's lovely seeing people, and also, the guys that do the expo and things like that, just the costumes and everything, all the details is phenomenal. It's great. It's obviously, people have great passion for that. So really, I suppose, as far as other people's interpretation, that's probably the part, the prop that people most like to make. But I'm always so impressed with people's passion, passion for this subject, what affects it.
Did you have a prop that was maybe a prop design that was maybe so outlandish that the studio told you to dial it back a little bit?
There was a lot of, I think even a lot of props. I mean, the thing is, when you make a prop, it's not like the main one is set out. A lot of people have to sign off before it gets in front of the camera. And there's some sort of quite outlandish. I remember the interior of the Golden Egg in Goblet of Fire. We were doing loads of riffy things about what that was inside. Funny enough, it was an experiment. What the final one, all the bubbles suspended, was actually Adrian getting chief molders knocking around, and it was one of the ones that we didn't catch fire. I think that they just caught this event. That was one of the things we never made. We only ever made one because we couldn't do it again.
I was just wondering, aside from the Voldemort wand, Bellatrix's wand is super interesting, and I was wondering if you had any insight on the thought process that went into that you can share.
Bellatrix wand is interesting because early on, when we made one, certainly for character ones, they were quite specifically designed for each character. But later on, what we started to tend to do is that we made 4 or 5 different ones, different styles, different designs, and then they'd be offered to the actual actress, and then they'd make a choice or say like that. And as far as Helen was concerned, it was one of the ones that she got off on the set. And it's funny, it's one of the ones I thought, it's not one of my favourites to be honest, but the thing that she riffed off it and got it, what she loves about it, she said it's like a witch's finger. She loves that curve and that finger. And suddenly it makes greater sense. So it wasn't really made with that in mind, but it's an interpretation, which is fantastic.
We're open for 2 more questions.
You said that you get the stuff from the art people and then you try to create it. Is there anything that you've ever gotten that is so intricate and you just looked at it and said there's no way you can make it?
It's never that black or white. I tend to, if you're doing a complicated prop, then certainly myself, I would be involved. I'll go and talk things through with the production designer, the art director, and set decorator, and it will develop. So it doesn't get this out. By the time you get an issue drawn properly, we're already confident to make it. it's like anything, you get loads of ideas thrashed out and suggested for a prop, and that's a debate. And people will come up with it, and then the reasons to do it or not to do it will get blacked out at that stage. So but the thing is, once you start making something, you have to be confident that it's going to work. Sorry, even if it doesn't work, it's all money. You're not going to spend money on something and it's expensive. When we make stuff, it starts getting expensive. You're not going to do that unless you're confident you can do it. That's certainly a responsibility.
I was wondering if there was ever a prop that you had made that you were particularly proud of and put a lot of work into, but that never actually made it into the film, just kind of hit the cutting room floor.
Yeah, there's always the question I have to think. I've probably forgotten it because it hurts so much.
Blocked it from memory.
Exactly. Yeah, just think about that actually. I can't answer. I can't remember anything off the top of my head. It would have been definitely. Normally with films, if 70% of what we make gets into the film, then they do it really well. I have to apologise, I can't recall anything at this very moment. There was. Again, I've walked off the stage. I'll remember.
Okay, so that concludes our Q&A session. A huge thank you to